Good afternoon, Alpha. How are you, sir?
Doing fine, doing fine. How's your day going so far, Bravo?
It is Sunday. There's lots of news to talk about. I guess we got the first show off without too much of a thud, and we're back again. Let's do it again.
Well, I think we learned a lot of things from the first show, so I hope this one goes a little bit smoother. And for anybody who's listening who thinks this is easy, it is anything but easy. It's incredibly difficult. There are so many things to think about, and no wonder why people, that do this for a profession. And there are people, your bigger names out there. They have a production staff that handles this. We are the production staff, so it's a lot of work. And in the background, there's so many things that you have to do. But it's exciting. It's a learning experience. It's doing something completely different, and I'm having an awful lot of fun with it. So
We are
yeah,
having fun with this. Yeah.
true. Well, I can only speak for me. Bravo. I can only speak for me.
You can speak for me on this one. That's fine.
All right. Well, I think we are having a good time doing it.
Yeah.
And we only hope that you enjoy listening to the content that we create. So without further ado, I would have to say that this is a very busy news week, right? And we've decided that we want to change things up a little bit and change the format just a tiny bit. Bravo and I, generally speaking, like we said in the first episode, we'd get on the phone and we would just go point by point over things that are in the news or maybe just under the surface that are interesting to us, that you may or may not be aware of, that we're paying attention to, because we've been following a number of things for a long time. Mm-hmm. So, Bravo, there's so much going on right now. It is insanity.
Yeah.
So,
and it seems to be, weekends are no longer weekends. It's like it still keeps going, which is interesting when we get into this. But we're gonna pluck some of those headlines out for you, and because as Alpha and I have discussed numerous times on the telephone, and we're going to now share with you, how come they're not saying it to everyone? And that's
right.
There's the problem.
Well, right. I mean, these are things that we talk about that, when you talk about somebody who doesn't gather or aggregate news from a number of different places and is using a mainstream source, they're not going to catch it. And there's not going to be a lot of analysis on it. And like right now, there are big doings in a number of different areas. And just to go over those really quickly, just to brush on them, and then we'll get into them. We'll take a little deeper dive here in a couple of minutes. You've got the John Durham investigation that's hot and heavy and shifting gears. And my understanding is they're going to be coming in with some results really soon on a number of different areas, right?
And again, here's with the basic premise: how come they're not talking about it? Because they don't want you to know about it, in my
right.
opinion.
Well, we'll get into that analysis in a minute, but that's just one of the areas. A little bit of news popped this week about Christopher Steele, the originator or the alleged author of the Steele dossier. That kicked off the Russia investigation. That's some interesting news there.
The fake dossier.
Yes, the PP dossier.
The PP dossier. Yes.
Yeah. Give me a break. And of course, everybody is more than aware that Trump has gone ahead and nominated a Supreme Court justice. Now we know it's Amy Coney Barrett.
Mother of 7.
Yep.
Long-term jurist, originalist, all around wonderful woman. 7 children, 2 of which she adopted. And it's just an amazing story.
Yeah, she seems like a really cool lady. Let's get into that as we go down the topics here. And coming up really soon, you have the first presidential debate. And I guess there's a big looming question: is that actually going to happen? Are they going to actually allow Joe Biden to get on stage with Donald Trump?
Does anyone know what the odds are if it's going to happen or not in Vegas? Or they even have in Vegas anymore? We can do gambling because of the COOF pandemic. But I was just saying, we'll get into that too. We're going to think about how it's going to go or not go. Anyway,
right. Well, before we get into this, I want to raise something that's very interesting. It just came to mind here. There was a rally last night in Harrisburg at the Harrisburg
I watched
Airport.
it. Amazing,
Yeah,
amazing. The
yeah.
energy. Oh, I wish I could go there.
Well, yeah, the energy, the message, and everybody's very excited about Donald Trump. That's normal at a Trump rally.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a report with Rona McDaniel. She's the RNC chairperson last night, and the statistics that are coming out. You see, the RNC was never very good at waging digital war. They just weren't, and they weren't good at collecting metrics, and they weren't good at data, and they weren't good at any of those things. And all of a sudden, they have really picked it up. The people that attended last night, it was a huge. I think this is going to be very telling, right? You've got. It was 50-50 men and women attended. Pretty much a 50-50 split of the crowd that was there, and it was a huge crowd. 14% of them were Democrats, and another 14% of the attendees did not vote in the last election, but report that they are going to vote in this election. And they're going to vote Republican. That is a huge statistical win. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in November, on November 3rd. I'm not in the predictions game, but I think it's going to be very interesting. So,
well, we'll talk about it.
Oh, we're going to talk about it.
Well, we're going to have I'm sure we're going to have quite a lot of fun seeing what happened, talking about it, and hopefully it's fun and not depressing, because the Democrats would have, if they had their way with it, it would be dragged on forever and ever. And again, we're not in the predictions business, but that seems to be their game plan. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I agree. I don't see an end to this, by their own words, the whole pandemic thing and the nonsense and whatever. Anyhow, let's jump back into the current event topics. I'd really like to discuss the Durham investigation, with your permission there, Bravo. I'd really like to get into that for a minute. You see our friend Mr. Durham on the screen there. I think that's a very telling. There are these people on Parler. They're meme masters, and this was stolen without shame. So we'll go ahead and we'll use that, because I think that's hilarious. It just makes me laugh. I learned something very interesting, that John Durham was actually appointed in 2017 to investigate Peter Strzok and what he was up to by Jeff Sessions.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
No one knew that, because, again, guess who didn't tell us? Oh, I don't know, the lamestream media. I'm sorry, that came out.
Well, right, and they didn't, and they didn't tell us. And do you know how we found that out?
I would say a leak, if I remember correctly, or it was a there was the text messages that came out, that were released. Again, I think that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alpha. I think that was a leak. That someone leaked them out.
Well,
the text messages between Strzok and Page.
Well, it was some of that, but where the propensity of the information is coming from that's being reported on right now and being released are a FOIA request from the General Flynn case.
Thank you for reminding. I did not know that. See, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, well, I learned. I was this many years old when I learned that.
Yeah.
So you've got Sidney Powell out there. She's absolutely swinging a wrecking ball through the FBI.
Oh, and by the way, just as for Ms. Powell, do you know that the first lawyer that took on Flynn's case was pushing General Flynn to make this plea ridiculousness, that he was almost like the lawyer that was representing General Flynn was complicit to this whole scheme to get him to shush. And thank goodness for Miss Powell. I just wanted to add that little sentiment into this.
Well, right. And one of the former attorney generals, Eric Holder, worked for the law firm that Flynn had retained originally. Yeah, so that's a problem. I think we've got a graphic of some of those text messages there, Bravo. So
Yeah,
if you want to
bring that up there for a second here, as we learn how to navigate the production part of this stuff.
Right. This is 2017. This is a text exchange from Peter Strzok to somebody else talking about sitting with John Durham for his, interview, and he's going to continue to postpone his interview with Durham. Well, I wish you all the luck in the world with that. So it's just insanity. So you've got Sidney Powell out there fighting for General Flynn's life. And this whole thing has just been absolutely ridiculous. And now come to find out that Durham was investigating the FBI and their malfeasance back in 2017. So for anybody out there to say that nothing is going to happen, or Durham doesn't have knowledge, or this is taking so long, or this, that, Durham knows everything. He knows everything. Trump knows everything. So every time he says something, he knows something. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see some results coming sometime soon. I know that everybody's been screaming and clamoring for indictments. Yeah, me too. I don't know about you, Bravo, but my problem with this whole thing is if the FBI can do this to a presidential candidate and a candidacy and a president and a 3-star general, General Flynn, if they can do all of these things to them, what can they do to you?
Oh, I would actually say I think that it's been done. I think other agencies involved with this, especially during the Obama years, IRS was sent out to investigate and audit and to cause aggravation to 401c3 organizations that were considered conservative, and it's been happening before. Again, this has just happened to the president, and because they got away with all that other stuff in the beginning, they took more liberty to do what they felt that they could get away with. In my opinion, I don't know what you think, Alpha, but I think that they just had this ongoing feeling that they could just keep going and going, and it's sad. I wish that people didn't have this audacity to have to do this.
Well, I completely. Why don't we hold that slide for just a quick second there, Bravo? Why don't we hold on to that, and let's go on to the next topic, where I think people are missing some knowledge on what Durham is up to. Yeah, this is kind of a big deal. Everybody thought the Clinton Foundation investigation was over, and the Clinton email thing.
Oh, because they smashed it with hammers, and they bleach bitted the disk drives, and
right,
of course,
yeah, we all know that, and got news for everybody. That's not over. It's not over by a long shot. Far from over.
Yeah.
Yep, Durham is on it. He has been on it. They released some things that won't interfere with the investigation on this. Bill Barr the other day in conversation, and they have much more than what's obvious. And I think one of the 800-pound gorilla in the room is something that not a lot of people know about. If you'd been following, the great Dan Bongino, hat tip Dan Bongino for really cracking this open.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Exactly. It goes back to a Russian project that Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation and all the Clintons were really big fans of, was called Skolkovo.
Skolkovo. Remember the names,
Yeah,
as Dan
remember
would say.
absolutely. Remember the names.
And places, since this is a place, technically.
Correct.
Yes.
Skolkovo, for those that don't know, Skolkovo was a Silicon Valley developed by the Russians. It was a Russian enterprise called Skolkovo, a place and a thing. It was a project where all the tech giants got together to trade information and to have this big conglomerate, a big think tank called Skolkovo. Turns out it was nothing more than an espionage activity from the KGB. And Hillary bought into it hook, line, and sinker, and they got money for it through the Clinton Foundation. They did a bunch of things, and they got all of these American defense contractors to take part in this. Where do you think the Russians got the hypersonic technology from?
Okay. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Hack and slice and dice.
Well, we gave it to them in Skolkovo.
Oh, it wasn't a hack job. It was a give it. Let's give it to him. Thank you, Clinton.
Thanks, Hillary.
Moron. Yeah.
Ugh. Exactly. So there's a lot to this, and I think a lot of people are really missing it, and they don't quite understand. It's more than bleach bidding, servers. It's more than hitting things with hammers. It's more than that. It's much more than that. It's an espionage activity that she basically sponsored, and they got money for in Skolkovo. So it's a real big problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Come to find out, Durham is on the Wiener laptop thing.
You mean he actually? Someone gave the computer that was taken by the New York Police Department in a raid. They actually kept the mails on that, the email on that one, made copies, and that's maybe the source of that's that the emails have not gone away yet, possibly.
I would say there's a pretty good chance that those 33,000 missing emails were found.
Yeah.
Now, I can't substantiate this. I cannot
can't either. This is speculation on my part. I will clarify.
Complete speculation. My thought is this. A New York City police, some flatfoot detective, bless his heart, calls the FBI and says something to the effect of, hey, I got all these classified emails on this laptop and with the kiddie porn and all this stuff from Wiener. What do you want me to do with it? And the FBI guy might have said something along the lines of, if you don't destroy it, we're going to ruin your life. And New York City Police Department detective, being a New York City Police Department detective, says, no, that's not going to happen. You can't do that. And I'm not afraid of you because I'm a New York City Police detective. You're not doing that to me. And they kept it. And they turned it over to the appropriate parties. So I think that some interesting things are going to come along from that. Don't you think?
Oh, very much so. Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think we really need to sit back and wait and see what's going to happen. Are there going to be indictments? I don't know. Is Durham going to come out with some kind of a report? I would say that that's definitely going to happen. Is it going to be anytime soon? I think weeks, maybe days. I don't think it's going to keep too much longer. I think this has been going on a long, long time. I think this has been going on for about 3 years, and nobody really knows it. I think Durham took over for Huber, at least on the Clinton Foundation stuff, and I think that's going to be a problem. I know the federal government and the DOJ, I know they plussed up the staff on the Durham side not long ago. They expanded the scope. They expanded his staff, etc. Because he's looking into a number of different things. Right?
Yeah.
The FISA abuse issue is a huge issue. Huge. Wow. He's also looking into FISA abuse.
Remember, the Constitution states that due process, that you have the right, the Miranda laws too. I've never been arrested. All I know is I've seen on TV, and I've talked to police officers who I've worked with personally. The right to remain silent, the all the other things that go with it, and FISA's warrants. When you issue a warrant, you just can't just get one. They're supposed to vet it, and the judge is supposed to sign off on it. And once you know it, the FISA court was lied to. They have to hold someone responsible for that. I wonder who that should be. But you know how poop rolls downhill.
Well, this would be a really great time to go ahead and put up that slide.
All right. And for those listening on audio, you can catch it on Rumble. Just so if you haven't had a chance, you want to see these slides, but we'll describe it to you. We'll make sure we kind of tell you what the highlights are of it, so you don't feel left out.
Right. So essentially, this slide goes to show back in January of 2017, early on, they were talking about closing down the investigation of Crossfire Razor, which was the investigation into Trump and Russia collusion. And basically, I've highlighted, so is Razor going to stay open? Yep. Crimes report is being drafted. And then the next line, 2 lines down, what's the word on how O's briefing went? The other agent in the conversation said, who is O? The next line is Obama. The next line, our president. And then somebody said something snarky about, do you like Justin Bieber in the conversation, which is just inappropriate. But okay, so here's an important point. Don't know, but people here are scrambling for info to support certain things, and it's a madhouse. Jesus. The next line from the other side of the conversation.
And it's not you saying Jesus, it's the text that's saying that.
That's right.
And all these names are redacted, by the way. They can't see who the participants are, but these are, we're presuming these are FBI agents, correct?
Right.
Alpha? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. These are FBI agents. These are Sidney Powell. All of this was FOIA'd by Sidney Powell.
Because
in the Flynn case.
Right, because General Flynn is being railroaded. And that judge, just as a side note, and I can't hold myself back here, that judge should be impeached immediately, removed from the bench. It is ridiculous what he's doing. But I sidetracked.
Well,
sorry.
This has a lot to do with the investigation of Flynn too. Razor is Flynn and Trump and everybody involved. The next line is the telling line, and for anybody that thinks that Obama didn't know about any of this stuff, you're fooling yourself. He did.
Well,
the FBI knew it. They were briefing him.
Yeah, and remember that no one knows about this stuff because the lamestream media has not been very forthcoming with these facts. So this is one of the things that motivated Alpha and I to say, hey, we need to get this out there. This is ridiculous. And Dan's been doing it and a whole bunch of other people.
Right.
And we're just 2 regular people that said, hey, we're going to jump in and help those people out. So that's what we're going to tell you here in a second.
Right. So the next line, the very next line, Trump was right. Still not put together. Why do we do this to ourselves? What is wrong with these people?
Whoa. The FBI, remember how we were always saying, and Sean Hannity was always saying, it's the upstairs level, floor 7, the upstairs people. It's not the people walking on the street and doing the job and being there to protect us. This is coming from administrators who are into themselves.
Right. And these are rank and file in this conversation.
Rank and file. Yep.
So we've got a big problem, and I have a major question to answer, to ask everybody. Why is Christopher Wray still employed by the FBI?
I would have to. I don't know. I was about to say something, but we don't have any facts to back it.
I don't have any facts to back it.
He must know somebody that knows somebody. Yeah.
Who naked Trump. Anyhow.
Yeah.
So, you've got all of these things, and basically the FBI knew that everything was BS. They knew everything was BS. There was nothing to substantiate any of this, and the investigation was still ongoing. So Razor is going to stay open? Yep. Okay. So Trump knew they had nothing to substantiate. They had nothing. They had no PC for the FISA warrants. They made everything up. They had no charges against Flynn. He was the only one that was clean Gene, really. And remember, it's a major problem.
before you get, I mean, this is something that Dan explained. He was doing it on a routine basis, whether he was a federal agent or a New York State or New York State, New York City Police Department officer. They have to have a complaint. They have to be able to go to a judge and, get the warrant signed and make it so that there's reasonable suspicion, reasonable cause. So just keep that in mind, everyone. This is, I'm not a lawyer, but that's what our rights are.
They absolutely abuse the process and the system for a political end.
Yep.
And I have news for everybody that's listening. If it was a Republican president that did this crap, I would be just as upset.
Yep.
Or even more so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, on the next moving down the line of topics that are related to Durham and to Russia, Spygate or whatever, and the genesis, according to Jim Comey, was the Steele dossier. He says in one breath it was not, the investigation was not originated from this, and in another he says it was, and this was the PC stated.
He doesn't know which end is coming and which one's going, and he doesn't know which end to talk out of. To be honest with you.
Well, the problem is when you tell so many lies and you get put under pressure, it's really hard to keep it straight, and that's why it's always best to tell the truth the first time, because you never have to remember what you said. Okay, so
yeah,
he's having a hard time remembering what he said.
He's got dementia, just like Mr. Biden.
We'll get to that in We'll get to that in a minute here. So it came out today that just several days ago, that Christopher Steele was the target of a counterintelligence investigation for a number of years. It was determined he was a Russian asset.
Oh, it was Russia, except someone was not involved with Russia that they were yapping about. It was Clinton that was associated with Russia.
She bought Russian disinformation to try to derail a presidential candidate and to upend a presidency.
Because she was all whining and crying because she wasn't the president, darn it.
Well, she tried to pitch the table in her favor while her husband was off in Russia giving $500,000 speeches, and they were stealing information through Skolkovo. So, it's always a problem. It's always a problem.
See, and again, Alpha and I, two regular guys, want to be, and again, this information has been out there. I find it unconscionable that the press is not getting this out here either. And to quote again, Dan, I'm not a journalist. Don't insult me as one. Thanks. But we uncovered all this stuff by doing the searching and being helped to be shown how to do it through some very influential people that we talked about last episode.
Right. The truth is out there. You just have to go digging for it and find it. And I have to give the hat tip to Sidney Powell.
Mm-hmm.
She is a single-handed wrecking crew.
Yep.
She is gone. She's taken Flynn's case, and I was really mad. Actually, I was really mad, super mad that this Emmett Sullivan didn't dismiss his case on the last go around, and the court decided they were going to go through an unbanked review and all this other stuff, and they were just going to keep holding on to it. You know what? Keep holding on to the tail of the tiger. That's fine. The more you hold on to the tail of the tiger, the deeper this woman is going to go on you, and the more stuff she is going to put out there, like the FOIA requested information for the text messages for the PC to go after Flynn.
You mean what goes around comes around, Alpha? Are you talking about just keep it going because it's just going to come around to bite you in the tuchus? I thought so.
Well, they've got two choices. They can either have Sidney Powell dig this stuff out, or they can just drop all the charges against Flynn, and he can just be like, okay, I'm going to draw you a map of where all the bodies are buried. Remember, he was the DNI under Obama.
The deputy of
the director of national intelligence.
Thank you. Yeah, these acronyms drive me crazy.
Oh yeah, there's we have an expression. You run it through the rags system. The RAG system is the random acronym generation system. Okay, so it just you just run it through RAGs and you get yourself your acronym and you just go from there.
Right.
But let's just say that either way, Flynn is a ticking time bomb for Obama.
And you know what? I wouldn't even call it a ticking time bomb. It's the light that's going to shine its way to bring all the cockroaches out of that administration, because he was a narcissist and a terrible president. Terrible. Absolutely.
Well, I'm afraid a narcissist, yeah, that's one thing. And I agree with you. But I think that it's actually a little more evil than that, and it's really disturbing. But we're, to change topics a little bit, the big story this week is, you have a Supreme Court nomination. Amy Coney Barrett, pardon me.
Amy Coney Barrett.
Yep. Mother of 7 kids. She's quite a fantastic person.
She's actually what I would consider the cream of the crop, the best of the best, top of her field. Probably, like not only just a doctorate, and she'd be like 5 doctorates. She's done enough work to get like 5 PhDs. What she's done in terms of the narrative. Again, they're trying to tell you a story, not the story. They're trying to relate, and I'm talking the Democrats are trying to relate to what happened back in 2016 during the last few months of the Obama administration, where the Honorable Antonin Scalia died suddenly, and because the Senate was Republican and led by the Majority Leader Senate Mitch McConnell,
Mitch.
He actually did a good thing. He said, "No, we're advising and consenting, and we're advising that we don't want to take this up right now," and all within his right in advising consent. And no one's telling anyone. And I'll tell me if I'm wrong. Did Obama basically say, "I'm nominating," and I don't even remember the name, just because I couldn't believe, he was nominating a Supreme Court justice, and he nominated someone, and then the Senate said, we're advising and consenting, or we don't want to consent. And that's their right. Everyone did their thing. But if you listen to the huge amount of spin and obfuscation, and they just everyone's just yapping. No, he didn't do it. It's not fair with Everyone's trying to confuse everyone, especially on the Democrat side, when they know there's nothing they're going to do to stop this, and they're going to make themselves look even worse if they even think about trying to dishonor this woman. And
I think that's the path that these people are rapidly going down. Okay, so
they're dumb, absolutely stupid to do this. They should say,
go ahead. I feel bad for this very honorable woman, but feel free, go ahead. Just like you did to Kavanaugh, do the same thing, do it all over again. But
Harris is going to be there. Harris is going to be there. Senator Harris is going to be there. She's going to be sitting in her smug stupidity. She's a prosecutor. You think she'd know better? And she's going to go and she's going to do what lawyers do best and start spinning a tail.
That goes back to something I learned in my career. You can't get indicted by what you don't say. So her best bet is to keep her mouth shut. But moving forward, this is nothing new. A last year of term nomination. This has happened like 27 or 28 times. This is nothing new. Okay, so McConnell denied Obama and did not decide to take up a vote. Now they call it the McConnell rule. Okay, you know what? Fine. That's almost as valid as Ruth Bader Ginsburg's deathbed wish. Okay, fine. I don't see anywhere in the Constitution where deathbed wishes are valid.
Nope,
so moving forward, I just want to know, how gross is this likely to get?
I'm trying to be optimistic, but I usually have to admit that I'm a half-empty glass viewer. This is not going to. This is. It's not. You know what? It's going to be. I hope. I know that Amy Coney Barrett is actually able to withstand this. I wish she wouldn't have to. I think she's. I admire her. And again, it's not because of what side of the aisle I'm on. It's because she really has worked hard, and she's at the top of her game, and that's something to be admired. But they're going to try and shame her, make her say something. And she's already been through this vetting process. She sat
right.
in front of this committee. Feinstein, so-called senator, and the minority, or what do they call it, when the minority of the committee, she's the minority part, the leader of the committee. She basically attacked her Catholicism, and she took it.
Yeah. Something about
the
dogma being strong here. I never knew that there was a religious purity test for a position in government.
Oh, in the Constitution, it's a big no-no.
Yeah,
Article
correct. So
6, I believe it is.
and another thing, I'm going to say something right now. I am absolutely ashamed of her, Dianne Feinstein, for saying that. I am ashamed of Blumenthal for the crap that he's pulling. I'm not even going to meet with her. And you got that Mazie Hirono, that oh my God, she's just I can't even. I can't even. It's a miracle she can respirate on her own. I can't believe that. Well, we're not even going to meet with her. Blumenthal, you know what? You're a dick.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. This is generally a family-friendly show, but I'm ashamed of that guy. Okay, Blumenthal, you want to say all these nasty things. You want to do all this nasty stuff. Show me your DD-214.
That is his first name, isn't it? Dick Blumenthal?
Yeah. Exactly.
See? That you call him his name. Anyway.
Fair enough. Anyhow, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean to address him with his name, but you know how it goes.
Yeah.
So, this whole process is going to be painful. It's going to be horrible. This is sausage being made, right? And it's out on display. I feel this woman's got courage. Okay. She's got a lot of guts, and she is, I like the people that think, all the narcissists that are up there, including Harris, and she's a narcissist in a big way. They think they're the smartest person in the room. Well, the smartest person is going to walk up in front of them, and the smartest person in the room is going to tear them apart. It's going to be pleasurable to watch.
I just wish it was a little bit more on the up and up. And they will get this through, and it will be voted on. And there'll be a lot of, stomping their feet and everything, but it'll go through. Done. Finished.
Yeah. Cry all you want. It's going to be over at the end of the day. So,
and then we're going to have the first conservative leaning court in 60 years, my lifetime. Now
all we have to do is get rid of Roberts, and we're going to be in good shape. But
Roberts is, he may, I will predict that he will start following the crowd, because he's a follower. He's not a leader, and he'll start just voting with everyone because he wants to be part of the gang. Or there's some dirt on him. Someone's got dirt on him that he has no choice.
That's another episode for another time. I think that's
there you go.
Genuinely a big issue. So we're going to move on, and I think we threshed that weed enough. I think that we need to sit back and see exactly what's going to happen. I feel very bad for that lady. She seems like I don't know her personally. I have no knowledge of her, but she's brilliant. Obviously, she was been confirmed by the Senate, and she's already been confirmed by the Senate. All right, so we've covered that enough. So now we're going to move on. Now something that's very interesting that's going to be going on here, supposed to be on the 29th, I think, is the first presidential debate.
Ah, yes, the debates.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with this, huh?
Yeah, we're
Um,
gonna post a link in the show notes to an article at Hannity.com. We're showing it on the screen now
yeah,
for those that can't see. Nancy Pelosi says Biden shouldn't bother debating Donald Trump this Tuesday. The article goes on to explain that,
yeah.
you know,
When her lips are moving,
oh,
you just know she's lying, and she
oh,
just has she's it's aggravating because people listen to her. She goes on CNN, she goes on MSDNC, she goes on all these fake news outlets, and they all run it like it's gospel. And you and I, Alpha, know she's FOS, and they're trying again to change this narrative so that Biden does not go to the debate. And if you think about it, if he goes to that debate, he's done. If he doesn't go to the debate, he's done. And I don't know how he's going to survive being up there for an hour and a half.
I have no idea how he's going to withstand 90 minutes on stage with our president. It's almost like kicking puppies.
Mm,
Um, this whole thing I've contended since day one. I don't know how we're going to have another whole show on what the strategy is behind his nomination,
hmm
because there's got to be more to it, and I think there is.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I have a theory on that, and I'll be happy to we'll get it out there for you. But right now we're coming near the end
right,
of this one, so
we've got
we'll save
just
it
a
for
few
another
more
day.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few more minutes we want to take of your time. We don't want to waste too much of your time today. We're grateful for what time you do give us. So,
hmm
this whole thing on the 29th, it's going to be cringy.
hmm
Um, Joe Biden, in some appearances that he's made lately, he's made absolutely no sense, and I don't even know what to make of it. I can't understand what they're thinking. So
having I haven't people
it's
people would start to
horrible.
make diagnoses. You can't make diagnoses on him
No,
because no one's examined him. Only his providers that see him can make those kind of things, and it's basically, well, sorry, there's nothing we're going to be able to come with except what our own observations are, what our own
that's right.
uh, uh, looking at the facts, and there's something not right with him. If he can't make a sentence, if he has to read a prompter, we know he's reading a prompter. He's shown motions with his hands indicating to bring it up so he can see it, or it sounds like he's reading off a prompter. I mean, from my short two shows here, Alpha, when I'm reading something, it sounds like I'm reading it. Right now, we're just kind of chatting and we're learning the ropes here. But he's supposed to be carrying the nuclear football, that thing that starts all the, if we want to launch our weapons, that's what he's going to forget it. The guy's not competent. And I think that
Right.
it's crazy.
Right. So we're coming to the 43-minute mark now,
Yep.
and we've talked about a lot of things. There's a couple of different points that we also wanted to raise in here, and one of the huge things that I want to raise is, so we're going to post an article from The Hill. It was a speech that Bill Barr, regarding a speech that Bill Barr gave. Now, it's what he really said. Now, back from the first episode, we were discussing, they're telling you a story, not the story. The media is telling you a story, not the story. And the mainstream media is working diligently to try to discredit this man, to say that everything that he's doing is about politics, et cetera, et cetera. And I've got another article also, and we're going to post a link in the show notes to this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, a federal prosecutor says Attorney General Bill Barr has brought shame on the DOJ. Okay. There's a
From Fox
concerted,
News, no less.
yeah, this is a Fox News story. They're just reporting what somebody is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, somebody within the DOJ, an actor, federal prosecutor. You know what? If you think that your boss has brought shame on you and your department and what you're doing and your beliefs, find another vocation. You're an
Mm-hmm.
attorney. You can go find another job. In the post-corona world, everybody's going to be suing everybody, and it's going to be crazy. So go ahead. Go with God. Have fun. Go find yourself another vocation.
Mm-hmm.
It's meaningless. And they just keep piping this up and drumming it up and drumming it up, because I sincerely think, to circle back around a little bit, Durham works for Bill Barr.
Yep.
People have a problem. It's going to be bad. So they're trying to seed that narrative now. So, look, we're on that note, we're going to wrap it up at about 46 minutes, and that'll be about enough for today. So, if you have any comments on what the content we're putting out, or you have any suggestions or anything that you want us to have a little bit of commentary on, please feel free to leave a comment on one of our outlets on either YouTube or on Rumble at Signal 50 Podcast. And, just to keep in mind, the news cycle is going to be just absolutely nonstop until the election. And then if this is close, even remotely close an election, it's going to be horrendous, right?
Yeah, but it's also important to make sure that justice is in there and ready to go in terms of, ready to hear there's a lot of unknowns, and that's part of the purposeful nature of this. Again, remember, it's important to look at the sources that you're utilizing. Make sure you look at it from a critical eye and say, are they telling me the story, or are they trying to tell me a story? So
absolutely, you've got to look for the counter narrative to everything that's going on, and you have to be very careful. It's one of those situations where there are some people out there that are a little bit more extreme than Bravo and I, that have been putting out shows for a long time. And sometimes you look at them and you tilt your head and you go, God, that can't be so. And then, you realize, oh my God, they were right. And they were right about a lot of things. And another thing that we need to, pay attention for is be on the lookout for the Durham investigation report. I think that's going to be very, very interesting. Those are just to wrap it up, we talked about all of those things. And I think that we need to wish everybody a good afternoon and wrap it up.
Very good. And hey, just remember, you can find us on Parler. You can find us on Rumble under Signal 50 Podcast. You are able to take us with you if you are not at your desk or working on something. You want to have this playing in the background on Rumble. You can take us as a podcast on SoundCloud, and coming soon to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, the Podbean app, and Amazon Music and Alexa under Signal 50 Podcast. We will be there as a podcast for you to take with you in the audio form. So we thank you for listening to us. Please follow us, give us a like, give us a rumble. Let us know that you want to hear more or what you want to hear about.
Don't forget, you can also catch us on Spotify coming soon. So, this is a process, everyone. So we're working our way through it. And at the end of the show, we're going to put in our affiliate plug. And today's affiliate plug is the same as the last one. Patriot Ordnance Factory of Chandler, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix. POF-USA.com. Makers of what I consider to be some of the finest AR-15 style rifles in the world. Everything is American made, designed in-house, a family-owned business. These are good people doing good things. If you're in the market for a AR-15 type rifle, pistol in numerous calibers, anything from 22 long rifle all the way up to 7.62 by 5.1 NATO, please give them a look at, again, POF-USA.com, made in America for Patriots by Patriots. And on that note, we're out of here. Anybody celebrating or observing Yom Kippur, have an easy fast.
Hag Sameach.
Yep, Hag Sameach. And we'll hopefully talk to you soon.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.